Is the transformation from next Magic Johnson to basketball purgatory just the universe testing whether Scotty Barnes possesses the rare champion gene? We've just witnessed one of the most pivotal seasons in franchise history since drafting Vince Carter. The cosmic basketball power seemed determined to test not just Scotty's legendary versatility, but his mental fortitude through the ultimate trial by fire. There's this mysterious developmental trajectory that most analysts are completely missing about this 24-year-old phenomenon whose ceiling maximizing abilities suggest he might possess something truly otherworldly. I'm about to reveal the shocking truth about why Scotty's supposed down year was actually the exact catalyst needed to unlock his superstar potential. What's up, Raptors Nation? Quick Court coming in hot with another deep dive for all you basketball junkies who live and breathe the North. Hope you're all crushing it today, rocking that red and black, and ready to get your minds absolutely blown by some serious Scotty Barnes analysis. How exactly does a player go from Rookie of the Year, Magic, to having doubted us question his ceiling, only to potentially emerge stronger than ever before? Drop your boldest predictions down in the comments right now, because I've been studying the film, connecting dots, and analyzing patterns that nobody is talking about yet. Seriously, stick around until the end, because I'm about to break down a development arc that will absolutely change how you view Scotty's journey and why this season might be the launching pad for something truly special. Let me start with something that's been eating at me. Scotty Barnes averaged 19.3 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 5.8 assists this past season, but somehow the narrative became about what he couldn't do instead of celebrating what he absolutely dominated. That's a 23-year-old carrying a two-way workload that most veterans wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Here's what really happened in 2024-25 that nobody wants to admit. Scotty was asked to be everything: the primary creator, the defensive anchor, the vocal leader, and the face of a franchise in transition. But the injury narrative is actually more complex than people realize. He started the season strong, then suffered a right orbital fracture in late October after taking an elbow from Nikola Jokic, missing at least 3 weeks. He returned, showed flashes of brilliance, including a career-high 35 points against Indiana, then dealt with an ankle sprain in December after an awkward landing against Karl Anthony Towns, and finally battled through a right-hand contusion that affected his shooting in the season's final weeks. When your best player is battling through legitimate injuries and carrying that kind of responsibility, efficiency dips are expected, not damning. But here's where it gets interesting, and I need you to really pay attention to this. The shooting struggles weren't just random, they were systematic and injury influenced. When you factor in the orbital fracture recovery affecting his depth perception early in the season, the ankle issues in December limiting his burst, and then the hand contusion impacting his shot mechanics late in the year, the sub 30% three-point shooting starts to make more sense. Add in the fact that teams could pack the paint because they weren't worried about his teammates' shooting consistency, and you get the full picture of why his efficiency dipped from the field. Jakob Poeltl is fantastic, but he's not stretching the floor to the three-point line consistently. What did we actually see from Scotty when the lights were brightest? He tied his career high with 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists against the San Antonio Spurs to end the season. That's not a player who's lost his confidence. That's a player who's learning how to take over games when it matters most. Speaking of taking over, can we talk about the elephant in the room that actually makes this whole situation incredibly exciting? The Brandon Ingram trade changed everything, and I mean everything, about how we should evaluate Scotty's trajectory. The Raptors acquired Brandon Ingram from New Orleans in February and immediately signed him to a 3-year, $120 million extension. Here's the key detail: Ingram hasn't even played for Toronto yet due to his ongoing ankle injury recovery, but the front office was so confident in the fit that they locked him up before he stepped on the court. This isn't just adding a scorer, this is adding a legitimate second option who can create his own shot and take pressure off Scotty in ways he hasn't experienced since his rookie year. Remember when Scotty looked unstoppable as a rookie? He averaged 15.3 points, 7, 2 rebounds, and 3.5 assists while helping the Raptors reach the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. What was different then? He had Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and Fred VanVleet creating chaos for opposing defenses. He didn't have to be the primary everything. Now picture this next season. Ingram finally healthy and drawing double teams, creating driving lanes. Emmanuel quickly, when healthy, provides that pace-pushing, 3-point threat Toronto desperately needs. RJ Barrett continues to develop as a complementary scorer. Jakob Poeltl just signed a massive 4-year, $104 million extension, so he's clearly part of the long-term plan as the rim protector and defensive anchor. Suddenly, Scottie gets to be the best version of himself again, the versatile Swiss Army knife who can initiate offense, switch on defense, and make the right play every single time. What concerns me about some of the criticism is this obsession with comparing Scottie to players he was never supposed to become. The Magic Johnson comparisons were always about his vision and versatility, not his scoring output. The Draymond Green comparisons missed the point entirely. Scottie's offensive ceiling is significantly higher than Draymond ever possessed. Let me ask you this. How many players at age 24 can guard positions 1 through 5, initiate fast breaks, create for teammates, and still drop 35 and 11 when the team needs it most? The answer is maybe 3 or 4 players in the entire league, and Scottie is absolutely one of them. Here's what I think is really happening, and this might sound crazy, but hear me out. The 2024-25 season wasn't a step backward, it was a stress test. Scottie had to learn how to carry a franchise through multiple injuries, roster uncertainty, coaching adjustments, and constant trade rumors. The orbital fracture taught him about playing through adversity. The ankle sprain showed him the importance of load management and body maintenance. The hand injury that affected his shooting late in the season. That's going to make his shot mechanics more resilient going forward. Those are lessons you can't learn in practice or by watching film. The multiple injuries that affected his shooting throughout the season, those are going to make him more resilient. The defensive responsibility that never wavered even when dealing with vision issues from the orbital fracture, that's building championship level habits. The criticism about his leadership during the toughest stretches, that's fuel for a player who's already shown he can rise to every challenge, whether it's coming back from a facial fracture or playing through hand pain to help his team. What makes this even more fascinating is the defensive impact that somehow gets overlooked in all the shooting percentage debates. Scottie's defensive versatility allows Toronto to switch everything, to disrupt opposing offenses, to create extra possessions through steals and deflections. Elite defense ages better than elite offense, and Scottie's defensive foundation is already championship caliber. And can we please stop acting like shooting struggles at 24 are permanent? Look at players like Jimmy Butler, who didn't become a reliable 3-point shooter until his late 20s. Look at Giannis, who completely transformed his offensive game through relentless work. Scottie's work ethic has never been questioned, and his basketball IQ is off the charts. The pathway back to stardom isn't complicated. It's about maximizing strengths while improving weaknesses within a better system. Next season, with legitimate help around him, Scottie won't have to create every possession from scratch. He won't have to guard the other team's best player for 35 minutes while also being the primary playmaker. Here's my prediction, and I'm putting this on record. Next season, with Bobby Webster leading the front office following Masai Ujiri's departure after the season ended in June 2025, we're going to see Scottie averaging something like 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists on improved efficiency, while anchoring a top 10 defense. Webster has already shown commitment to building around Scottie with the Ingram trade and Poeltl extension. Those aren't just numbers. That's all NBA territory when you factor in his two-way impact. The real question isn't whether Scottie can get back to stardom. The real question is whether we're ready to appreciate greatness that doesn't always fit conventional molds. This isn't a player who's going to score 30 a night, but he might be the player who makes everyone around him better while winning games in March and April when it matters most. But what do you think? Are you buying into the Scottie Barnes redemption arc? Or do you think the concerns are legitimate? Let me know in the comments. And if you're part of the crew that's been supporting this channel through thick and thin, smash that subscribe button because we're just getting started with this content. Listen, the path back to stardom isn't always linear, and it's definitely not always pretty. but sometimes the best leaders are forged in the most challenging circumstances. Scottie Barnes has every tool needed to be a franchise cornerstone. The size, the skill, the basketball IQ, and now the experience of carrying a team through adversity. With Brandon Ingram providing elite scoring when he returns from injury, with Jakob Poeltl locked up long-term as the defensive anchor, and with another year of growth under his belt, Scottie's ready to remind everyone why he was Rookie of the Year and why he's still the cornerstone of this franchise's future. The roster construction still has questions. Quickley's health, Barrett's role in the offense, and integrating a star who hasn't played yet, but the foundation is stronger than the critics want to admit. Drop your boldest predictions for Scottie's 2025-26 season in the comments below. Will he make his second All-Star team? Can the Raptors make the playoffs? And most importantly, are you ready to see this man silence all the doubters? If you enjoyed this deep dive and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We're covering every angle of Raptors basketball all season long. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, Raptors Nation, keep that same energy, and we the North